David has been king a long time. He's probably now 65 years old. And his son Absalom has grown impatient with his father and has orchestrated a coup against him. All the young people have been won over by Absalom's lies. And Absalom is coming to take the throne. David has fled. When David was a little past the top of the mountain, there was Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth, who met him with a couple of saddled donkeys, and on them 200 loaves of bread, 100 clusters of raisins, 100 summer fruits, and a skin of wine. And the king said to Ziba, "What do you mean to do with these?" So Ziba said, "The donkeys are for the king's household to ride on, the bread and summer fruit for the young men to eat, and the wine for those who are faint in the wilderness to drink." Then the king said, "And where is your master's son?" And Ziba said to the king, "Indeed, he is staying in Jerusalem. For he said, 'Today the house of Israel will restore the kingdom of my father to me.'" So the king said to Ziba, "Here, all that belongs to Mephibosheth is yours." And Ziba said, "I humbly bow before you, that I may find favour in your sight, my lord, O king." Now, when King David came to Bahurim, there was a man from the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shimei, the son of Jerah, coming from there. He came out, cursing continuously as he came, and he threw stones at David and at all the servants of King David. And all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. Also Shimei said thus when he cursed, Come out, you bloodthirsty man, you rogue. The Lord has brought upon you all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose place you have reigned. And the Lord has delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom your son. So now you are caught in your own evil, because you are a bloodthirsty man. Then Abishai the son of Zeruiah said to the king, Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Please let me go over and take off his head. But the king said, What have I to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah? So let him curse, because the Lord has said to him, Curse David. Who then shall say, Why have you done so? And David said to Abishai and all his servants, See how my son, who came from my own body, seeks my life. How much more may this Benjamite? Let him alone, and let him curse, for so the Lord has ordered him. It may be that the Lord will look on my affliction, and that the Lord will repay me with good for his cursing this day. And as David and his men went along the road, Shimei went along the hillside opposite him, and cursed as he went, threw stones at him, and kicked up dust. Now the king and all the people who were with him became weary, so they refreshed themselves there. Meanwhile, Absalom and all the people, the men of Israel, came to Jerusalem, and Ahithophel was with him. And so it was, when Hushai the Archite, David's friend, came to Absalom, that Hushai said to Absalom, Long live the king! Long live the king! So Absalom said to Hushai, Is this your loyalty to your friend? Why did you not go with your friend? And Hushai said to Absalom, No, but whom the Lord and his people and all the men of Israel choose, his I will be, and with him I will remain. Furthermore, whom should I serve? Should I not serve in the presence of his son, as I have served in your father's presence? So will I be in your presence. Then Absalom said to Ahithophel, Give advice as to what we should do. And Ahithophel said to Absalom, Go in to your father's concubines, whom he has left to keep the house, and all Israel will hear that you are abhorred by your father. Then the hands of all who are with you will be strong. So they pitched a tent for Absalom on the top of the house, and Absalom went in to his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel. Now the advice of Ahithophel, which he gave in those days, was as if one had inquired at the oracle of God. So was all the advice of Ahithophel, both with David and with Absalom. My name's Arthur, and I thank you for joining me as we share together from 2 Samuel chapter 16. As Absalom leads a coup against his father, but he doesn't really have a clue what he's doing. He's dependent on Ahithophel to give him advice. Ahithophel was a very respected advisor to King David, but has sided with Absalom in this coup. So he knows David very well, and he also knows how to gain the confidence of the people. And so his advice to Absalom is, first of all, go up to your father's concubines. David hadn't taken all his household with him. He'd left behind 10 concubines, that is, women servants of his, to look after the house. And so to fulfill the judgment that God had pronounced when David had committed adultery, that David did it in secret, but Absalom very publicly went into David's concubines, that he might show that he has taken over from his father. It's a very symbolic act and a very public act, meant to discourage David's servants and to encourage everyone to see Absalom as the new king. Meanwhile, what's happening to David? The first thing we're told is an apparent act of betrayal. Mephibosheth, who David had been so kind to, who was the heir to Saul's throne via Saul's son Jonathan, but who'd been a cripple, had been brought into David's court to sit at David's table, to grow up with David's children, and to whom David had given all the property of King Saul. Now Ziba reports him saying, Israel will now give me back the throne of King Saul. Well, that's a very unlikely outcome, as Absalom is taking the throne. But nevertheless, one could imagine that Mephibosheth harboured a deep-seated resentment that the throne was not his. And this is what the manager of his estates, Ziba, tells the king, as he brings to David 2 saddle donkeys, 200 loaves of bread, 100 clusters of raisins, 100 summer fruits, and a skin of wine, to provide some sustenance for David on the way. David, in appreciation, gives to Ziba all the property that he had previously given to Mephibosheth. Of course, that's all conditional on David coming home again. Meanwhile, there's another Benjamite, Shimei, who was on the road, sees David coming out, and spends a whole heap of time cursing him. Come out, you bloodthirsty man, you rogue. The Lord has brought upon you all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose place you have reigned, and the Lord has delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom your son. So now you are caught in your own evil, because you are a bloodthirsty man. Of course, David had not raised his hand against Saul at all, and so the accusation is completely false. While David had been responsible for the death of many, it was not his delight. We see his heart in his long suffering towards his sons, and his patience towards Shimei. Abishai, Joab's brother, proposes to execute Shimei. But David says, let him curse, if the Lord has told him to curse me. But maybe the Lord will hear his curse and bless me. The point is that God's servants need never be afraid of the curses of others, because it is God's blessing that we experience, not the curses of men. Jesus bore the curse in our place. And so David keeps fleeing until he's exhausted, and Shimei keeps cursing. We cannot live without trusting people, but some people are not trustworthy. And David is finding out who his true friends are, when at this time of his rejection they continue to stand with him, or whether they betray him. And many who he thought were with him turn out to be against him. But David's ultimate trust is in the Lord, and so should ours.